Good morning, everybody. This is GrandDungeonDad again here with a new video. A couple of things on my channel, on Pantheon videos on my channel, real quickly before we get too far into this. With Pantheon videos, one of the things that I've noticed is that in my recording software, it does cut off a portion, or rather, the recording window is bigger than the game window. Um, I don't know what the deal is with that. It doesn't match down for whatever reason. I'm gonna turn this stuff down just for the video. Make a little adjustment here. Drop my master down a little bit. Turn the music off just for the video. Music's awesome in this game. I would recommend having it on all the time, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna turn it off. So for whatever reason I think I'm using OBS Studios. For whatever reason, it doesn't size the window right. I don't know why it does that. So please ignore that. Apologize for it. It's not a settings thing as far as I can tell. If anyone has any suggestions on how to fix that, please let me know. I'm open to fixing that. Maybe it's a version thing. Whatever. Just drop your comments in the video and I'll try to get it fixed for the next one. The second thing, and the thing I wanted to make the video on, or one of the things I wanted to make the video on today, was the gear bug with the skeleton, as we discussed in a previous video. So, this is my guy Zentarum. He's Necromancer. This is his pet. This is the pet window. I'm going to go ahead and open my inventory as well for part of this because I need to do that. So, my skeleton's on the right. I'm on the left. My inventory is kind of full right now. I just got a bunch of scrolls for my next level. You know what? An open bag will suffice, so we'll do that. We'll use the open bag. I'm going to put my inventory over here. So, as you guys can see, I just resummoned my skeleton. And what happens when you resummon your skeleton, when your skeletal pet dies, I think when you die, there's a whole bunch of different criteria for this to happen. We can do a real quick look here at the Discord. Where's that? Pantheon Discord. Ooh, where's my ticket at? Bear with me just a minute, guys. Where did I report the bug at? Here. My ticket is right here. You can find it in the forums. If on the official Discord, you can find it under bugs in the forums. So, this is my original ticket. But basically, you lose the gear when zoning. You also lose it when the pet dies. The gentleman that replied to me, Vizzy, did a really good, gentleman later, or lady, I'm not sure which, did a really good analysis on what I was finding. So happens when you log in, create a new pet, zone, die, and level up for both Necro and Summoner. So both for the Necromancer and the Summoner, their pet gear loses all benefits. And I think I have a good screenshot. Well, it's happened in here. What's already happened in here. So as you guys can see, looking at my pet pane here, I go to offense, no stats, except for one. Weapon damage never disappears. That one always stays. I go to defense, empty, nothing. Now, you will note my pet is also using a shield. So one of the things that we uncovered in the bug was if you pull all the gear items off, like I'm doing right now, and I'll pull the shield off too, but there's a caveat with the shield we'll talk about in a minute. There we go. Okay. So everything's off. As you guys can see, I go back to base stats. I guess what are base stats? Though weird thing is, even the base stat doesn't come through when your skeleton zones in, or when you log in, or in all the use cases we talked about. So I don't know what these base attributes are. I don't know if those are like base attributes for the skeleton, the 144 armor class, and like I'm assuming this is just part of the same bug, but I don't know. Again, the only stat you'll have in here, if you have a weapon equipped, will be the weapon damage on the main hand. I don't have even a weapon equipped, so it's showing 0. Weirdly, my accuracy is up to 6% though, with 0. With 0 weapon equipped, it's up to 6%. Yeah, 6%, which is strange because I have nothing equipped. Anywho, don't know why that happens. Doesn't make any sense. In reality, I don't even know what of these bonuses are being applied because of the hijinks with this pain. You really just don't know, and it's hard to test it in combat, to be honest. Regardless, let's go back. So we've removed all our gear from our pet. Now we're going to re-equip. I'll put the head on, the shoulders, the van braces, the gloves. We'll put the chest back on. Put the belt. Now, all those things equipped again. My defenses, my armor's up to 202. Yay, great. And my stats have come up for the benefits from the various stat pieces from the base of 4. That's why I'm assuming that the base of the model is 4 for each of these stats, because they do go up by what looks like 1 for each piece of gear equipped. So instead of originally in my other video I said the stats jump to 5 for the pieces of gear, in reality I think they're a base 4 on the skeleton without anything equipped. But I don't know for sure. So that's all that done. And you can see our physical stats. You can see that our armor class has increased. Now if I put the weapon back on in the main hand, again, I get an increase for the weapon bonuses. It's stamina and dex. So my stamina went up to 7. Now if my stamina is really going up to 7, which apparently it is, because as you can see, if I take this off, it drops down. I put it on. Now it's 133 again. So if you look at my stamina, my HP here, my stamina is going up with the addition of this stat piece. So what that means to me is, if that weapon is making a difference, and let's say these van braces are making a difference, which they do, it dropped to 123 again. Without the gear on there, not only are you losing the visual of it, and the visual of it changing your stats in the screen, but it also appears to be affecting the actual HP of the pet, according to the pain. If the pain's trustworthy, again, I don't know if it is, so I can't tell you for sure, but you can see that the difference there. So now that we've covered that workaround to fix the bug, removing the gear, putting it back on, easy enough to do for the summoner and for the skeleton, or and for the necro for the skeleton. What's the other thing we have to fix? Well, watch this, guys. Nope, can't put this shield in my offhand anymore. Don't ask me why. It was on there when the pet was summoned. Why won't it go back in the slot? Well, the slot's bugged. So what my buddy on Discord suggested, which I believe is the person who was answering my question, from either from the team or another player, I'm not sure which. He suggested on the offhand stuff. Okay, for some odd reason, removing a secondary item temporarily prevents the player from returning that same item to its slot. Okay, so he suggests remove primary weapon to general inventory. Move secondary weapon to primary, then back to secondary. Return primary weapon to its slot, and both weapons will show on your pet. Secondary weapon must always be equipped first for both to show up. That's important. That's part of the process. Shields can't go in primary, so you'll need to carry a secondary item to swap. This is not actually true. I figured something else out. So, and I added my notes down below. If you've read that already, you know what I'm talking about. But we'll go back. Okay, so you don't need a secondary item. Why? Because it's just a bug that's preventing the shield from going in. So if you treat the shield like a main hand item, and you try to put it in, you push the box, it won't go in. But now that you've done that, if you try to put it in the offhand, I think you might have to put the main hand back on. It should go into the offhand, or at least this worked earlier when I did it. So it can't go in the main hand. But look, did you see that? It's almost like it's trying to go in the main hand. Okay, so guys, this worked for me this morning once. Now, for whatever reason, it's not working. Let me try closing this and opening it again, because it did work this morning and I had no issues with it. Doing the exact same thing that I said I did on the Discord. So now I have everything equipped except for the offhand. Okay, let's try to put it in the main hand again. So for whatever reason, the weapon slots seem very buggy. Maybe it has to be in my main inventory. Let's try that. Let's try doing it from the main inventory. Okay, let's put both weapons in the main inventory. Let's try to equip the shield first. Nope, wouldn't go in because it's not a main hand. Okay. Put that one. Oh, no, I know. You know what I didn't do? I'm an idiot. That's what I didn't do. Okay. So try to put the shield in the main hand. Doesn't work. Then put the spear in the offhand. Then try to put the shield in the main hand. Won't take. Then put the spear in the main hand. Then put the shield in the offhand. I know this worked earlier. Why is it not working for me? What did I not do? So you can see that I'm clicking on it, trying to equip it. That is all I had to do earlier. And I know I didn't swap items. Okay, there we go. So first what you do, I think I just figured it out. First what you do is you put the main hand in the offhand, then you put it back in the main hand, and then you put the offhand item on again, and it should work. And that's what I did earlier, and it took me one try to do it, and it worked. So again, let's try that again. So if I take this off, now it works. Look, you can see I can equip it and remove it. So if I want to create the same bug again, it's going to cost me a bone fragment. But all I got to do is, and I desperately need to grind some more bone fragments. But all I need to do is dismiss my pet. Now, if I bring my pet back, we should be able to do the weapon thing again and make sure that that's, I want to make sure that I prove that's how it works. So there's clarity on that. So I brought him back again. As you can see, all the stats have disappeared again. So we'll remove the shield because the shield currently, again, is providing no benefit. So we'll remove the shield. We'll put the spear in the offhand. We'll put the spear in the main hand. And we'll re-equip the shield. There you go. So remove the offhand, put the main hand in the offhand, put the main hand back in the main hand, and put the shield or secondary weapon or whatever it is that's not equipable back in. And it should work. It should clear that up. Note my armor class, which there's no AC on this, is now 215. So it's really buggy, guys. It's not just like the gear coming off and going back on. It doesn't work right. That's true. But not only that, but your armor class is changing in just a little bit each time I do this. It could be 196, it could be 202, it could be 204, it could be 215. So it's just really screwed up. Whoever's working on these items, I love the fact that my necromancer pet can have gear. I think it's a great idea. I think we should keep it in some format. I know that Jop was talking about changing that, but if you change that, then the way you should change that, in my opinion, is by providing more castable bonuses like this one. So like maybe instead of gear, the necromancer pet just has a bunch of bonuses that you can cast on it. Damage, attack speed, health, you know, something like that instead of gear. If you want the summoner pet to be the only one that can have gear, you do that with the necromancer. Or the other way you could do it is make the necromancer pet the only one that can have gear, and then allow the summoner to have all kinds of enhancement magic for their pet. Because enhancement magic, elemental enhancement magic of some sort or another, might make more sense on the summoner than having enhancement ability for your skeletal pets. But I think either one of those approaches on either foot would work. But we got to get these gear slots where they're supposed to be, where they work. Because right now, I'm going through bone fragments like crazy to try to make sure that my gears effect was actually being there. And I do notice a difference. It seems like there's a physical difference when the skeleton's fighting mobs if it has the gear on and the stats are there, and when they're not. If somebody tells me I'm wrong, I'll believe them, but I believe there's a physical difference there, in health, in HP, in the block rating, all that stuff. So if I'm wrong on that, then forgive me, but that's just what I'm just going off the statistics that are being shown in the pet paint. So that's the first thing that I wanted to cover with this video today, was that just that response to that bug that I put in. It was pretty quick. I think it was like somebody replied on it, and I don't know if it was another player again or if it's somebody from like the actual game support, but they literally checked it as having a ticket submitted on it and gave me a summary response within. Oh, well, I put it in last night at like 10 o'clock. I think they responded at 11:30. So it was really quick response time. I was actually really surprised because of the size and the amount of people they have working on this game is not a lot. So I thought that was a really good response, and I wanted to give praise for that in this video. The other thing I wanted to talk about today, and I'm not doing any gameplay today, this is just some general thoughts and opinions on the game. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that it can literally take hours to find a group. I've been in the LFG, or I was in the LFG earlier for like 4 hours, and I never even got invited to a group. I just zoned to AVP, so that's why it went off. And there was no groups forming to do any content at my level. Like usually there's manor groups going. There was none at the time. And these guys have an HC group going now, it looks like, and out of character. But my point is just like you could be on a prime time on a Friday night or a Saturday night or a Sunday night. It literally there's nothing going on. There's no groups at your level. And 2 levels higher, you could have 4 or 5 different groups, or maybe 8 or 10 different groups on server playing together, um, basically pretending like you don't exist, which is fine. They're able to find a group, they're grouped together, they're doing content together. That's great. That's awesome. I have no problem with that. My point is just that I think one of the ways that you could address that issue where people are looking for group and there's just nobody on, there's nothing going there, like you might have 2 or 3 people looking for a group and there's no healer or there's no tank, and you could get together maybe in duo or triple some solo mobs somewhere and get some decent experience doing that, but it'd be really slow because you got no heals, so there's a lot of rest, a lot of downtime. And I think one of the things that Joppa had mentioned in one of his streams was the fact that the scaling for NPCs isn't there yet. So I think that fix, when that comes, will help with the small group content, and I think I said that on the forums. But I think there's still a big need for like more transitional content in this game where maybe my friends are all like level 20 and I started a little later than them, so I'm at like level 17 and I want to do a dungeon with them. Well, I'm in luck because I'm within 3 levels of the range that I need to be in. I'm 3 levels. I got a 3 level buffer basically, where I won't lose XP. Like I think the range is 6 levels before you start to not get XP anymore because there's somebody too high grouped with you. So in general, I thought that was really cool when I discovered that in the game, that you could have somebody in your party that was like 5, or I think it's 6 levels, but I may be wrong, but it's like 5 or 6 levels higher than you, and you can still get experience. That's awesome. But there's just not a good lot of content that's built around that. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's no reason why somebody at like 19 or 20 is going to want to come back and do a manor group, with somebody that's 15, 16, 17. And there's no reason why I would want to go do the entrance of like HC, for example, with a group of like 11s or 12s. Like, I get very little experience out of that. And I get very little for my time other than just, being able to socialize with people, but there's no benefit in it for me. And to me, that's a huge miss. Like, that's a huge miss by this game. And I love this game, and I 100% hope and pray that it's going to continue to be around and grow and be a huge success. Like, that's why I do videos on it. That's why I started doing these videos again. It's one of the things that got me excited about YouTube again. But um, my point is just like there's not enough transition zones where, like, it's like something like HC maybe, but instead of the entrance being, well, no, the entrance is only like 10, 11, 12, or 10 through or 11 through 14 or whatever. We're going to have areas in there where you could bring a 14 and be an 18, and you're both still going to get either he'll get at least a little bit of experience and a chance at something that might be useful at his level, and you'll get a lot of experience, or he won't get much experience at all. He'll get just a tiny bit of experience, but he might find there might be some quest item or something that everybody needs, they need to go in there and do it until they get it. So like there needs to be a hook, in my opinion, that pulls players together to use that level range. You guys put that awesome level range in here where there could be up to 6 differences in level across your group, yet the lowest level person is still getting experience. That's great. But let's use that. Let's put areas in the game. Let's put dungeons in the game. Let's put um, group um, what's the word I'm looking for? Group encounters in the game that um, a mixed group will do fine with. That a mixed group can do. And part of it, again, that goes somewhat back to the NPC scaling, right? Because a lot of these areas are NPC areas, and not just like animal mobs. So and maybe that affects the animal NPCs too. I don't know. The way he described it almost sounded like it was humanoid specific, but if it affects all mobs, even my point's even bigger. Like, okay, let's fix the scaling so that my level 13 tank that's running my group um, in an area that's 15 and up is not going to get instantly destroyed by a single mob in that area because he's got a 15 or a 16 healer. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's make that content more accessible across a wider range of players. At the same time, I'm not saying to weaken the content. I don't think that's necessarily the way to do it, but figure out a way to bring players of all levels together, right? And a six level disparity is fine. Like, that's more than good enough. Like, that's probably more than most games allow, is players from 6 different levels, apart to play together. That's a lot. That's a lot, really, in my opinion. But it doesn't mean much if there's not a lot to do that's gonna draw higher level players to group with you. Right now, you have you have a pretty small servers, right? They're doing very well. They have a lot of people on them, but they're small. And with these small servers, what I've seen is people tend to form these tight knit groups where they'll go out and their group will just play together all the time. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome that a group of friends can get on here and they can play all night long with the same people and develop that like social environment that we all crave, like a good D&D group or a good group of Magic the Gathering player, whatever your thing is. you get together and do it. That's what this is all about. But my point is just like you guys could make that a reality across more levels for more players, which would really, really help kind of fill in the gaps until we get more slightly different server situation going, which is what they're talking about, and more people in general in the game playing the game. So those are just some things that I had mentioned. And then lastly, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the looking for group system. I've also mentioned this on the Discord, so it's in general feedback. But if you go to the looking for group system right now, I can see people both in Thronefast and AVP. That's great. I know there's people in Thronefast that are looking for group. I know there's people in AVP with me right now that are looking for group. And I can whisper. I believe I can whisper. Let's test it. Any of these people. Yes. See, I just sent a whisper to Poser, who's in a different zone, and said hi. And it went through. So he can hear my whisper. My request would be, let's turn this LFG panel, instead of a panel, into its own channel. Let's make it a LFG channel so that I can go in here and, like, when I say /OOC, not question mark, /OC, and I can talk to people in the zone. Instead of doing that, I could hit /LFG, enter, and instead of marking whether I'm looking for group or not, because I can do that right here by hitting L. I can do that right here on the pane. I don't need to have that check. That they only need functionality in one place, in my opinion. It doesn't need to be a / command. Instead, that's going to put me into a looking for group chat, or I could create a new tab, and in that new tab there'd be a way to select LFG as the chat that's in that tab. Like I'm looking at the list here. There should be a default, or there should be a window in here for looking for group, right? And then I can go in there and I can find a group right through that, and it goes across all zones. It's in all zones and everything else. So like, in other words, an out of character right now, which is an out of character message, as in I'm not in my character, I'm speaking across the game to people as myself, not my character. I cannot currently send a message in the chat to my understanding, in AVP and have that message go across the Thronefast. And there may be reasons for them keeping the channel like that. I get it. If that's how you guys want to have it set up, I'm cool with that. But for the singular purpose of looking for group in a game that has a limited number of players in every server, because of how the servers are set up, because it's a new game, it makes sense to me to come up with a dedicated LFG channel for all of us, so that I can speak to somebody in AVP if I'm in Thronefast, and they can speak to me. Because there's right now at 15, I could do Manor in Thronefast, which is a good level range for me. There's other areas also in Thronefast. I guess in the Goblin Caves, there's undead that are at my level. I haven't done that yet, but somebody was telling me about that. So there's that encounter. But my point is, there's encounters in Thronefast where there's mobs that I can get experience from that I would still do. There's also a ton of stuff in AVP for my level. So I might prefer to stay in AVP and look for a group here for HC or for whatever. But at the same time, I'd be open to doing Manor. Well, nobody in Thronefast can see that. I mean, they can see I'm in LFG, which is still good, but it'd be better if there was a way to send messages across. Because in general, I want to be able to put, I have a healer and a tank and 2 DPS. I need 1 DPS for Manor, and I want to send that LFM chat across both zones so everybody can see it. So that's my only beef with the LFG LFM system right now. Is it'd be nice to have a chat where we could blast, and I don't think that changes any aspect of the game that's gonna hurt anything. I don't think it hurts the nostalgia. It doesn't hurt the old school MMO RPG feel. I'm pretty sure most of the old school RPGs, even EverQuest, had world chats of some sort or another, or they were eventually introduced. So I'm just saying, like, that would really help you guys out right now when it comes to player management and keeping more people online more. And that's just one suggestion that I have. That's all I've got for today, guys. I don't want to keep gabbing all day. I'm not really doing anything here. I'm just staring at my screen. So I will let you all get back to what you're doing, and please feel free to give me your feedback, comments, arguments for, against, vile curses, whatever it is, in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you later. Take care.